All right, thank you very much, and a warm welcome to everyone. Yep, we're right at the end of summer vacation season, so I am very pleased that you're with us today for the thing. This is kind of a boring workshop, everyone, so have plenty of caffeine available and go through the material today. This is not exactly exciting, except for those of us that do a lot of coding and have to make some decisions. We're going to be looking at the National Correct Coding Initiative Policy Manual. And yes, this manual has become quite lengthy, and we'll be discussing the manual itself. If you need to access the manual, the best way to do it is simply to go to a search engine and put in CMS space NCCI, and it'll take you, or it'll give you a web address where you can actually go out to and get either the manual itself, which is what we'll be concentrating on today, or you can actually look at the edits. Now, there are a lot of edits, as I will state here in a moment. I have given up trying to count them. So there's some place in the neighborhood of 400,000 of these edits. Again, I don't know. I don't count them each year anymore. When we started way back when, I used to count them, but now I don't do that anymore. So today our topic is the policy manual. We're going to be looking at some of the coding policies that form the basis for the development of the edits. As I say, I find this manual to be very useful. I would say on an average once or twice per month, we have some sort of a question from somebody, oftentimes physicians, it turns out, or coders for physicians, where they have some question. And it's amazing how often their particular question is addressed in the NCCI policy manual, or I've had the case where we've tried to address a particular coding issue. It's not addressed in the policy manual, but then all of a sudden it magically appears in the next version. All right. You should be looking at the title slide, which is not particularly interesting, everyone. Let's go ahead and go to slide number 2, which is a little disclaimer. It simply says, look, I'm going to give you the best I have today. I don't think there's anything highly controversial in what we will discuss today. For the most part, I'm giving you quotes right out of the manual itself. Now, this is a kind of a strange manual because, as you'll see when you start reading it, you have to read it several times, and sometimes it seems to be contradictory. But anyway, I'll give you the best I have today, but if you have a serious coding question of some sort, be sure you get at least 3 independent resources that say the same thing about the particular issue you're addressing. Now, you can read a little bit about me in slide number 3. I'll leave that up to you. Yes, I travel, I get around, I do charge master reviews. I even testify in court from time to time. So, yep, I get to do a lot of things. If we go ahead and go to slide number 4. Slide number 4, all right. Well, what are these edits? What are we talking about here? Well, there are 2 types of edits, as we shall see. There are what I call the absolute edits. In other words, 2 CPT or HCPC codes that can never be used together. You never put them together in a claim. No matter what modifiers you have, they never go. Okay, those are absolute edits. Most of the edits are relative. In other words, you can get around them if you need to. If you attest to the fact that you have documentation on file that indicates that you should get around a particular edit, then you can usually do so with the 5.9 modifier, or in theory at least, with a number of other modifiers, LT, RT for left and right, etc. All right. When did the Medicare program start to develop these edits? Well, I became familiar with them, first noted them, I guess, way back in the early 1990s when CMS implemented RBRVS.